What's going on, guys? Brian here, Brian's Lawn Maintenance. Trust you guys are doing well. Wanted to come at you guys and share a little bit about what it costs to build our Morton building that we were able to finish up here in the fall of October 2023. Just a little bit of a timestamp for you guys. It is now May of 2024. We are just now pretty much wrapping up the interior of the barn, but the shell, I've been meaning to get this video out to you guys for a little while here, and now that the dust is settled, I've compiled all the receipts. I can finally break it down for you guys about what it costs to build this thing and try to give you guys the most accurate numbers possible. If you guys don't know, and maybe you guys are new to the channel, our channel is all about helping you guys grow a more successful lawn and landscaping business so you guys can go out there and crush it. For any of you guys that might be just casual viewers or observers, maybe you're looking to build your own pole barn or a building, hey, everything on this channel is about landscaping, but today's video is everything to help you guys out with growing and building a pole barn of your dreams. Well, here's what I want to do. Break some numbers down for you guys. A lot of folks have made videos along the way over the years. I've probably watched no less than 50 to 100 of them, to be honest with you, doing my research, trying to understand what I need, what I'm looking for, and of course, shop for pricing, see what's out there, see what folks are spending. And here's what I wanted to do. I wanted to make our video here because we just went through this whole process over the last 6 to 12 months. It's been a very challenging process, a learning process, a financially exhausting process, as you guys might imagine. And I wanted to share real-time numbers about what we're doing here. A lot of the videos that I've seen in the past, and of course those are dated and time-stamped for when those folks made their videos, but it seems like a majority of the videos that I've watched on YouTube stem from being made about 4 or 5 years ago, just at, or of course before the pandemic and COVID, right? So a lot of the pricing that we're coming up with and the numbers that folks were sharing admittedly were from 2019, 2020, and of course from years past. And frankly, those numbers have, in my experience, in my opinion, have went completely out the window. In fact, I had a friend of mine literally build a barn in 1920, and he spent about $75,000 to $100,000 to build what I just got completed. And of course, the number has ballooned significantly more than what he did. And that's just the truth with material costs, labor costs, the cost of goods. A lot of you guys can relate. It is what it is. You know, if you want to build a nice building like this, get ready to shell out for it. So what I wanted to do in a short and sweet fashion, share a little bit more about our experience with Morton's Buildings. I have our contract here with us. I'm going to try to weigh in and chip in a little bit about what we went on with them and how that experience was. Inside baseball, thumbs up. Great people, great job. And then also share with you the cost to build. Now, these are my numbers. This is our experience. If you're down south or maybe out west, these numbers could vary greatly. And so one thing I just wanted to say is if you guys go through this whole process, please make sure everything you do, you start looking at apples to apples comparisons. A building up here might be $50,000 to $100,000 different down south. It might be the same price or double as you go out west or even California, right? Just when you guys are looking at your quotes, your bids, your prices, and you're starting to work with contractors, just make sure that you get everything in writing and you start doing your due diligence about what things are actually going to cost. That way there's no surprises, or if there are any hiccups, it's nominal along the way, okay? This whole process in general, for us personally, and I'll go really, really quick. My wife and I bought this lot, about 3.5 acres in 2019. When we first bought it, we wanted to make sure it perked in a couple spots, and we wanted to make sure that it was approved for an auxiliary building or a pole barn building, right? Make sure you guys do your due diligence on zoning, submitting your site plans, your site maps, and making sure that the township and the county and the city and the state, whatever you got to do, doesn't mind or does approve a building like this. Because last thing I want to see anybody do, and we've all heard the horror stories, is somebody out there buys what they think is a fire sale, $20,000 cheap piece of land, just to find out that it doesn't perk and you can't build an auxiliary building on it, and those dreams are dashed. And we don't want to see any of that happen to any of you guys out there, okay? So we did our due diligence as much as I knew how to do. I've asked every question under the sun to our builders, the ordinance officers, the construction department, the township, our real estate agent. This building was always intended to be here, and the site plan from the time we submitted the home that we're building right now always included an aux building or this pole barn. Okay, so that's a big thing I want to make sure that you guys understand. Anytime you're buying something for land, make sure it's zoned and can support something like this, okay? Because it is a process, and I don't want you to have all these big dreams and goals and just have that dashed right before your eyes. It does happen, unfortunately, more times than people would imagine. Number two, make sure you find a great builder. We were able to luck out with Morton's Buildings. I've always wanted a Morton's building. A lot of you guys know the name. More of you guys are seeing their buildings and product, of course, because we've been trying to document as much as we can on YouTube. They're great. You do get what you pay for from them. Some folks akin them to like a John Deere where you kind of pay for the name. I will give you that. I'm sure there's a little bit of that baked into it. But again, the build quality of a Morton's building is second to none. And anybody can debate all day in the comments. I don't really have time for that. It's just a great quality building. It is the Cadillac of pole barns. I will tell you, when you start looking at folks that say things like, well, I built a building for 50 grand and you're getting quoted for 100, somebody's not building a $100,000 building for $50,000. Something is different there, okay? And it's usually the build quality materials, the labor, the attention to detail, and of course the warranty. So again, if you look at one company that offers a kit barn or a kit building or a steel building, and then somebody else offers something else and there's a significant difference in price, you need to make sure that you're comparing apples to apples with what you're getting for product. A lot of people know that, but of course I just want to reiterate that, because when you start throwing around $50, $100, $200, $300, $400,000 for these things, you got to make sure that you're knowing what you're getting yourself into. Morton's has spelled out everything along the way for us. Just a quick feather in their cap. Fantastic people, fantastic company. We've had a great experience overall. Our sales guy, Travis, honorable mention there, he's been with us for about 3 or 4 years through this whole process. I called him up, I think the day of or the week before, the week after that we submitted our bid to buy the actual land. We're talking like 2019, folks. He's been with us for that long. Very patient individual, as you can imagine. So he's earned his commission check, I believe. This whole process, I wanted to get him involved as soon as possible so he could help us navigate and coach us through this whole process about what we need to look for, look out, to do, how to frame things, structure things, what we could build, what we couldn't build, and so on and so forth. So shout out to Morton's. Not only was Travis great, the company was great, and I also got to meet the whole team that built our pole barn. I'll get into that in a little bit. But everybody, honestly, has been fantastic. The process start to finish was super seamless, very simple. Travis literally held our hand the whole way through. Many Panera Bread meetings, many meetings where he came over to our house and just drew open our plans and designed it for us on his tablet. Was able to modify it real time, and you see the numbers change, and that's always fun and creepy and crazy and sometimes scary, as you guys can imagine. But very, very great process. So I did want to say shout out and thank you to the Morton's team. They did a great job. We actually did a 5 or 6 video playlist. I'll try to leave here at the end, and you guys can check that out. Number 2, before I go too far into this, I just wanted to mention what I'm talking about today is just the shell of the building. It does not include all the extras. So I'm hoping to do a part 2 of this video, and if you guys would like to see that, leave me a comment down below. You guys know that always helps the YouTube algorithm and helps get the video out there to the right folks. Drop me a big thumbs up if you guys don't mind. It takes a lot of time to put a video like this together. Trying to do my best to compile as much information as possible. But if you guys would like to see a part 2, I'm about 4 to 6 weeks left to finish up all the interior stuff that I've wanted to do to the building. And we're talking about doors, HVAC, utility, plumbing, the loft, the pallet racking, the concrete, lighting, if I didn't say that. There's a lot to the building in addition to what I'm going to be sharing here. So the numbers I'm sharing here are just the building and the shell itself. That's a completed building, but obviously it's not necessarily a functional or operational building unless you don't mind having dirt floors and no doors, okay? So just keep that in mind. I will assure you it's a lot more money than meets the eye. So I can't wait to do a part 2. As soon as I have my workbench area painted and my cabinets hung, and then also behind the camera is a whole bunch of crap here. I'm building my home. I'm trying to get that into the house. This will all be cleared out. That'll be put together, and I hope to do a part 2. If you guys are watching this video in a couple weeks or months, I'll try to leave a card or an end screen in the corner. If you guys are watching real time, hey, give me a little bit of time, and I'll make sure that video is available for you guys. Another big thing here, as I go through this whole process, one thing that you guys got to look out for is how big of a building you can actually build. We actually ran into some good luck, some bad luck, and then things kind of worked out. Let me explain. Originally, from what I understand in our township ordinances and rules, we could only build a building square footage as big as the first floor of the home or the primary residence. So we lucked out because my wife and I are building our forever home. We wanted to build a larger first floor home. It's got the master and our bedroom and our closet, all that mess downstairs, which added to the square footage. I think we're at like 2,590 something. So I had about 2,600 square feet to work with. Every township and city and state, I'm sure, is different. So just make sure that as you guys go through this process, let's say you got this lofty goal to build a 70 by 120 barn or barn-dough, but it's only rated to be the same size or less as your home, and you have a little 1,400 square foot farmhouse or 1,200 square foot farmhouse or 900 square foot farmhouse from 50 years ago, 20 years ago, 100 years ago, you may be limited to that first floor footprint of what you did for the home. So we lucked out. I never really know if I navigated that or maybe just got lucky, admittedly, but that's a big deal as you guys go through this process. So just make sure you guys check your ordinances. Originally, we were going to build a 42 deep by 52 feet wide, 18-foot sidewall building. Through this whole process, and we were actually under contract, about ready to break ground in June, we had to pull the e-brake because, and unfortunately, I'm going to actually put this a little bit more on Morton's. It is what it is. Nobody checked the code and the permits for the height of the building. I'm sure Morton builds a lot more rural, and we're actually pretty rural where I live, but we were not able to build as high as I wanted to. So we ended up reducing the height of the building, and that changed everything because once we started unraveling that and all the needs and wants that we had for this building, everything changed and we almost basically restarted. So instead of doing a 42 deep, 52 wide, 18 high, we ended up doing a 40 wide, 60 deep, and adding a span bay for the back portion, which I'll get into, for a loft and a workout area. And then we added a 57 foot long, 10 foot wide lean-to porch for the side of the building. And honestly, it kind of worked out. It probably was a God thing. He probably said, hey, I know the building you want. Here's the building I want to give you. At the time though, major red flags, dumpster fire, the sky was falling, my wife was crying, everything stinked, but it all worked out. So just be fluid and be patient with this whole process because it is a process, okay? My opinion, of course, and our experience, of course. Let's go through, so I covered Morton's, I covered the original plan, talked about the change order, I got a little bit of list of notes here, the new building, and then we basically were ready to be off to the races. So let me go through the original deposits, and then again, we had some change orders along the way, and then I'll give you guys the final price. Let me take it from the top here, talking about pricing, and we'll break this stuff down for you guys short and sweet. So as we go through this whole process, I'm gonna give you guys some numbers, but try not to confuse you along the way because we were deposited down for that first building. We had some change orders along the way for the new building, and then we did more change orders because we changed the color, and then my wife wanted to add the lean-to and the porch, okay? So I'm gonna try to keep it really simple. The first deposit down was $49,138, and that was for the original structure. With a little bit of change orders and a little bit of this, a little bit of that before the lean-to, we owed some additional deposits down, and it basically ended up being $57,254. To do that, as we were getting through this whole process, we had to get the pad graded out. I know it's a question a lot of folks have. How much is it for a pad? We paid $1,120 from one of the same contractors that did the grading and excavation for a house. Kind of lucked out in that regard. $1,120. I don't think that was anything crazy. I don't think it was high. I don't think it was low. I think it was fair. The guy was here for probably a day. Actually, I don't even think I was here. I just showed up and a pad was made. So that was, again, all scraped out for about 40 by 60 for a pad for the barn. On my lot, we have a valley that cuts through the back 2/3 of this whole thing, but we ended up bringing in a whole bunch of dirt because we expanded the footprint of the barn. First thing we have down is that deposit. The second thing we have down is the land grading. We have $57,000 plus $1,100. Next up was the architecture plans. As we're going through this whole process, I wanted to make sure that I added a loft to the interior of the barn because I always wanted an area for a workout station upstairs and a workbench station downstairs. That was always the dream. As we're building our beautiful custom home, super blessed for that. want to have all the wife's workout stuff in her workout room and maybe some of the cardio equipment. But I've always wanted a place for a cable machine, squat rack, rower, the whole deal, right? Just I'm sure like a lot of you guys. So to do that, we had to get architecture plans made up for the loft. But then because we were pulling permits for all this whole process and of course doing it right, we had to get that architecture plan engineered because it would be under load because weights going upstairs and people can go up there. It had to be engineered correctly. So that ended up being what the architecture plans, and our architect subbed that out to an engineering firm, I guess. That was $2,765. And you know, like as you get older in life, it used to be $20, $50, $100 problems. Now all of my problems seem to be $1,000, $2,000, $5,000 problems. So as you guys go through this process, I assure you, you're going to be writing some checks. Just be forewarned. If you're on a fixed income or a fixed budget, have a huge safety kitty in nest egg. If you're self-employed or in sales and you can come up with extra income, the next 6 weeks or 6 months as you go through this process, you're going to be selling a lot more than you ever have. That was at least my experience, all right? Just being real. Next up was the staking. So at this time, they staked out a 52 by 42 pole barn. So that was all staked out. We were ready to go. That was $350. Up next, there was another deposit that was due because we ended up having a change order and adding the lean-to. So I had to shore up, the lean-to was like $35,000 addition. So between a couple different change orders for color, sizing, the span bay, and I'll show some photos and videos, I had another $20,893 deposit that I had put into this thing. So at that time, we're 57, 58, 59, 60, 61, plus 20. So I'm $82,000 into this bad boy. Haven't even broken ground yet. It's crazy. As the emergency went off and the bells were ringing and the world was collapsing in about us switching the barn and turning it 90 degrees, the building was more set up on our lot for the first building. I didn't want that building to have to come forward towards the house now that it was more deeper, 60 feet instead of the 42 feet, right? So I pushed it back. Well, to do that and to deal with that valley, I had to bring in a bunch of dirt, grade, and excavate. So short story long, had to bring in our guys at Hamilton again. Shout out to Hamilton. They did a great job. What we did was we brought in a bunch of fill dirt to square off a whole section, right, to be able to put the barn here. Number two, through this whole process, my sales guy notified me and said, hey, just so you know, we need not only that corner to be squared off where the valley was cutting through, meaning deeper pylons and all this other mess, so that was a little bit of a change order and expense. We need working room with a telehandler, a boom, to be able to get all the way around to lift the walls and work on the roof. So that needed not only to square off the corner of the barn, but to bring another 10 to 15 feet. I think I have some drone footage here that I took at the time. I was really impressed with it because we did bring in quite a bit of dirt. They needed 10 to 15 feet of working room, if I'm not mistaken, that Morton needed for at least like half to 2/3 around the building. So that was some additional expense for sure. What I actually lucked out with was with my builder, he's building quite a few homes. So we were able to take all the excavation dirt from his other job sites, and with those customers, basically just split the trucking cost. Those other customers were gonna have to haul that dirt out anyway and get rid of it. I said, whoa, I need dirt. I'll take all the dirt I can get. So we had no less than 6 to 10 trucks worth of dump trucks, or whatever you call it, bring in all the extra dirt and excavation. Fill. That saved us a bunch of money, but of course I still spent a bunch of money. I've got just receipts I wrote down, $1,644, $1,700, $1,344.16. Just, I don't know, $5,000 to $7,000, maybe $10,000 worth of dirt. Loose numbers here. I tried to write them all down. But that saved us a lot of money. Now, to bring in dirt, I don't know what that would have cost us. I got the dirt basically for free. I just had to split trucking from my builder with his other clients. And that actually all worked out. So I don't know how much cost of dirt we actually have over here. It's probably every bit of, like I said, $7,000 to $20,000. I did move quite a bit of dirt. That being said, when you do something like that, even though you pull permits and everything's approved and good to go, sometimes you have pesky neighbors, and I really hope they watch this video because we still built the building. You guys still lost, and you guys are still jerks, and I can't believe you guys would harass a young family. But any which way, we won out. Thank you, Jesus. Talk about being on the right side of history. The building's complete, and you can still see it, and I'm still happy about that, and I hope you stare at it for the rest of your life. We had some very rude, very jerk, very not friendly neighbors that tried to pull a plug on this. They called the city 3 different times on us. Along the way, they had complained to the township that we were poisoning the well, and we were bringing in a bunch of contaminated dirt. I have no idea what that means. So we had to literally at one point pull the e-brake on some of the trucking, run an emergency dirt test company that had to come out here, test all the dirt. $515, got a green flag, thumbs up. I think it was the same day, and they said everything looked great. You guys are fine. You're good to go. So shout out to my neighbor who was being a thorn in our side. You're probably going to have those. Just forewarned. When you start disrupting, somebody's lot or land or just the area around you, I have come to find that people are not as gracious to let you build what you've always set out for your dream when they did the exact same thing 20, 30, 40 years ago when they ended up building their dream property, their dream house, and the whole deal. Some neighbors of ours have actually been super cool. They're awesome, and they're going to be friends for life. And a couple of our neighbors, not so much, and they're not welcome here or on our property. So just a little inside baseball. Get ready to have people peeking over the fence, looking through the trees, driving by, and or even up to creeping in and on your property and walking through your building or your construction home. Unbelievable. So a lot of trespassing, no trespassing signs, and we're watching you on camera signs were purchased. Put that as maybe $100 on Amazon. So that's a fact. Unbelievable. All right, so let's keep going through. When we, to go back to the contract, all is going well. We got all this land graded. We're ready to break ground. It was actually a really quick process. It wasn't even but 3 weeks from the time the Morton's team showed up with all the materials to the time the building was done. In fact, I actually went to a conference, a trade show for about 7 to 10 days with my industry. We all went to this huge conference. A lot of you guys watching the video know what I'm talking about, Quip Expo. And I left in the pole barn, just was basically concreted columns, ready to go. And by the time I came back, it was literally a completed building. It's amazing what they can do in 3 weeks. Again, shout out to the Morton's crew. I have all their names wrote down. I should send them all Christmas cards, actually. They're all great guys. They were super kind, super personable. Rough, gruff, blue-collar contractor guys that all had been doing this for 10 to 15 years. That whole crew had been together for a long time. Just men's men, but they were just honestly super nice, super grateful, thankful. If you want to throw a line item in here for food, I think I bought them food probably no less than 3 to 5 times, $150 a pop. So feed your contractors anytime they're showing up and building you guys stuff. Again, that's a soft one, but you can line item another $500 or $300 for food for sure. But they deserve it. They were awesome guys, and I wanted to make sure they did a great job on our dream. To me, and I was telling them this, you're not building a barn. And they already know this, but I was like, you're not building a barn, you're building something I've been thinking about for 15, 20 years. And they caught it, the vision, and they were just super nice and super accommodating. So I can't, again, say thank you enough to the Morton's Building team. When the materials showed up to break ground, it was a big day. All of their guys were here. My sales guy, Travis, was here. My wife and I were here. We brought a photographer, I think, in. It was an awesome time, and they got to work. I'll tell you what. Having those guys stake out everything, and they started running strings and cables and wires, it was like surreal. It was honestly kind of an emotional day. I don't know if I cried. I probably did. I wear my emotions on my sleeve sometimes. But again, it was our dream coming true. At the time, what dried up the watery, sweaty eyes really quickly was the next deposit check that I gave our driver at the time, or I think even Travis, which was, drum roll please, $114,509. That's a big check to write. As we go through, the rest of the process was honestly pretty quick. Not to drag this thing out any longer than it needs to be. From start to finish, 3+ weeks. I came back from our trade show and conference, and this building, arguably, folks, was done. It was really cool to see how fast it came together. But also, it was just a shell. It was just a building. Now, I know Morton does offer some services. You have to double check what they'll help you out with, or they'll subcontract some work for you, of course. So everybody's number is a little bit different, but just the shell and all that mess, once I gave my final punch out, which was $19,085, and that was about 3 or 4 weeks after the building was done, let the dust settle, use the doors, use the windows, make sure everything was happy, check every nook and cranny. And I was happy. There was, honestly, I don't think there was a single issue with the whole building, which was awesome. Our final punch out check that I gave to Travis was $19,085. So grand total, drum roll please. If you haven't dropped a like on the video, big thumbs up just for spending all the time to put this together for you guys and hopefully helping you guys out as well. $190,848 for the building. But as you guys can imagine, if you've been watching any YouTube videos from 2016, 2017, 2018, 2019, even 2020, maybe even 2021 when people were under contract in the first portion of the COVID year, anybody saying that they're building a barn for 50, 60, 80 grand, I just don't see how. I wish. At first, I was working back and forth with Travis, and I said, man, lay it on me. What are you thinking? 80 grand, 100 grand? He goes, the first number was 160, like I said, and then you added the lean-to, another 30, all the change orders, a little this, a little that, and we were basically at 191. Admittedly, that was a lot of money, and I thought that, hey, we'd be done with this whole process of the financial hemorrhaging. Boy, was I wrong. And so that's what I'm excited about sharing with you guys, admittedly, is a part 2, because I have some other stuff wrote down here. Garage doors, trenching utilities, barn concrete, more garage door stuff, the cabinets, loft lumber, the company to build the loft, pallet racking, the steel beams, electrical, mechanical, HVAC, more carpentry, paints, right? The bathroom being installed. Folks, there's a lot going on here, and that's not even counting the concrete to be poured for the lean-to. Okay, so there's so much going on here. I will tell you, it's probably north of another 6 figures invested into the building. Okay, it's crazy. So that being said, that's what I got for you guys on today's video. How about that for a send-off? I can't wait to make video number 2 because sometimes you just don't know what you don't know. And I know that going into it, I knew I'd be spending some money. I didn't know I'd be spending this much money. Of course, we had a light winter. Spring's been ridiculous. So if I can cut your lawn or aerate your lawn, feel free to call me. And if you're in the Midwest, I'll take care of you. Just having fun. All right, so any which way, just want to say, if you guys go through this process, I'll be praying for you. I really do hope you guys get the building of your dreams. I hope you guys have a fun experience going through this whole process. If you're ever looking for a builder, I'd highly suggest you checking out Morton's Buildings. They've been great for us. If I can ever answer a question, please leave it down below. If you're not comfortable answering that question, I am an open book. Shoot me an email if you want to do something privately, and I'd be more than happy to email you back and share everything, probably other than the exact contract, because that's proprietary. I don't want to give that away and get into some legal trouble. But if you have any questions about anything along the way, I'm an open book. I'd be more than happy to help out and share that with you. That being said, I really do hope you guys build the building of your dreams. If you do, maybe this video was a resource for you along the way. Circle back to me in 3 months, 6 months, a year, 2 years when you do build your building. Send me a photo of your completed project. I'd love to see what you guys are doing, and we'll be praying for your guys' success along the way. All right. Over now, guys. If you guys are new here, our channel is all about landscaping, lawn care, helping people grow a contractor business. So if you guys want to hit subscribe, fantastic. Welcome to do so. If you guys are part of the regular crew, you guys want to hit that thumbs up and always support. I can't thank you guys enough for that continued support, and we really appreciate it. All right. Over now, guys. Have a beautiful rest of the day. We look forward to catching up with you guys here on the next one.